And, this is actually a joint presentation between consumer electronics and consumer electronics technology and IEEE engineering in medicine and biology. Okay. So the thing is 12 to 12:05, I will cover this, and then 12:05 to 12:10, Alodi will actually go over the Liveleaf, introduce Liveleaf, and then 12:10 to 12:40, Dr. Maitra, Sweta Maitra, will VP of Business Development. She will go over the presentation. And then 12:40 to 12:50, we will take some short, quick questions on Dr. Sweta Mitra's presentation. And then 12:50 to 1:10, then I will cover the IoT architecture of wearable health monitoring, and there will be a panel discussion from 1:10 to 1:30. So next one, now anybody can use this real-time Twitter handles, and these are the officers of 2020. And as you can see, I will not go over. So 2021 officers.
Dev, just 1 second. You have echo.
I have. Okay. Can you hear clearly? Hello?
Yeah, that's better now.
Okay. Okay. So we have elected officers, chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, but we are looking for other additional officers and volunteers. And this internet-wise, I think it is difficult to know how many are IEEE members and IEEE members, but these are how to become an IEEE membership and C society membership. These are the process of doing it, and these are the fees for that. And the professional members can earn other facilities. And then there is the benefits of the CECT society. So any next speaker suggestion, please send it to me. Okay. And raise your hand if your company is hiring. Maybe you should send an email to me or Olga if your company is hiring, or if anybody is looking for employment also, send it to me or Olga. Let me introduce the speaker, Dr. Sweta Mitra. She is the VP of Business Development at LifePlus. And Dr. Sweta Mitra is responsible for identifying target markets and defining go-to-market strategy for the upcoming product of LifePlus, especially its flagship product, Liveleaf, a truly non-invasive, continuous glucose monitoring wearable smartwatch, one of the first of its kind. And she holds a Doctorate of Philosophy in Physics. The abstract for her presentation is the LifePlus presents a broad overview of its flagship product, Liveleaf, a truly non-invasive continuous glucose monitoring. And it's a wearable smartwatch, one of the first of its kind. In this presentation, Sweta will talk about high-level description of the wearable device, the science behind it, its salient features and functionalities, and the entire solution platform, which combines IoT, app, and cloud, and its target market, the benefit it offers, and a broad segment of adults. So the benefit it offers to the broad segment of adults predisposed with diabetes or hypertension. This is me, Dev. I'll talk. I'm actually a consumer society chair of this year, and I have about 20 years experience in leading the system, hardware, and firmware development of various systems. And what I will talk about is a personal health personal healthcare IoT for vulnerable population. The older adults with chronic disease such as obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and cardiovascular disorders constitutes the vulnerable population. The vulnerable population could face serious prolonged illnesses such as stroke, heart problems, kidney problems, and fall, resulting at times in costly critical care and death. We have seen vulnerable population experience these problems recently in coronavirus disease. One of the ways to provide timely preventive care, early intervention, critical care, and reduce cost of critical care for vulnerable population is to have continuous personal or home-based health monitoring with personal health devices. So this personal health devices actually reduces the overall cost as well as it provides the preventive care and solution, and also predict the severity on current and historical data and inform healthcare provider and emergency contacts in case of an immediate intervention if needed. Okay, and that is all from me. I think I'll give the stage to Alodip. Let me see, stop share. Alodip, please go ahead and talk about the company first, the product.
Thank you, Dave, for inviting us to this platform. It's really an honor. Really appreciate. So, Shweta, do you like to pull up the first screen and let me introduce briefly our company and the product, and then I will let you go from there. So first of all, thank you, Dave, and the IEEE Consumer Technology Society to invite our company, Life Plus, to come in front of you, present our upcoming product, Liveleaf solution that Shweta will be going over in detail. As Dave was pointing out, that our product is primarily focused on chronic disease management, especially for the predisposed population, the population that is at risk of developing diabetes or hypertension or other cardiovascular illnesses, but not yet there. But the primary care physicians and the doctors have identified for them to have an elevated risk for developing those conditions. There is no product out there in the market today that effectively serves that population, because the doctors often recommend many solutions like watching the meal, doing activity, and certain other lifestyle changes. People come back home, they're all motivated, they start doing some of these kind of lifestyle changes quite vigorously, and then in few weeks, since they don't see any way to validate the outcome of these lifestyle changes, the motivation eventually tapers off. And then that's the perennial problem of managing health in a preventative mode in this country, abroad, everywhere in the world. So with this primary focus, our product also sees a very interesting adoption in the context of COVID-19 pandemic, which essentially showed the entire world that our current healthcare industry cannot scale on the face of a mass illness such as a viral infection like COVID-19, where literally billions of people need everyday monitoring of their basic health to ascertain their the well-being, and as needed, the further care should be provided to them. So because of this need, the telehealth products are seeing a surge in the attention and adoption from the broad spectrum of healthcare community. And we are also envisioning that when Liveleaf comes out in the market after FDA clearance next year here in US, and even before that in the Asian market that Shweta will be mentioning, we will see a massive adoption of our product into the broad spectrum of telehealth platform. And as a result, this will be a game changer solution for that. So with that, I would like to pass it to Shweta. Shweta, please take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Malodip, and thank you, Dave and IEEE Consumer Technology Society for inviting Life Plus and giving us the opportunity to talk about our upcoming product, Liveleaf, in front of you all. We are really honored and pleased to be here. So, as before going to the main presentation, I would like to say, as Alip said, that we all are going through an unprecedented time because of this COVID-19. And COVID has surely showed this healthcare industry that whatever available healthcare management is there right now in the market is not efficient enough to meet the current need. Like track the health of millions and millions of people who are suffering in this, situation. Though different telehealth and remote patient monitoring systems, they are working, to bring some solution, but there's nothing in the market right now. At Life Plus, we are basically working on the cardiovascular, metabolic, and respiratory health of the individual, and we see a very good fit of our product in the current scenario. We can address the present problem with our, cost-effective and efficient solution. Without any further ado, I would like to, first of all, let me share the screen and let me know if you can see my screen.
Please.
And can you see my screen? Yeah. So basically, I would like to start with, giving an outline of the company and the product we have been working on. So what we do, we basically create a simple personalized health management product. It is the world's first non-invasive continuous glucose and blood pressure monitoring smartwatch. We do a comprehensive, we give a comprehensive 360-degree view of your metabolic and cardiovascular health. Frankly speaking, there's right now nothing in the market that can do this job, using a single form factor, that is a single device. If you see on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see our product. It is a wearable smartwatch and a Bluetooth connected mobile app, which works both on iOS and Android platform. And this product basically continuously tracks blood glucose, blood pressure, heart rate variability, oxygen saturation, and respiration rate. And so far, we have been successful in, attaining our first milestone with our first customer, and we got the, first purchase order and the prepayment for the launch of our product in the market, which is supposed to take place by the end of this year, that is November end, December beginning timeframe. Along with that, we are doing the, we are talking to the FDA and, doing a thorough study on our product and trying to take the product to the proper regulatory path for the clearance. And this is expected to happen by the second half of next year, which is 2021. Now, I would like to talk about our team right here. So only few key team members are, presented here. But if you want to get the entire team profile, you can visit our company's website at lifeplus.ai. So I would like to highlight here our co-founders, Dr. Alodeep and Ben. And along with that, Nilanjan Banerjee is our Chief Scientific Officer, and Dr. Neil Sengupta is the Chief Medical Officer. And I myself am the VP of Business Development and Director of the Global Clinical Trials, which we are conducting. Now, our company and our product is mainly focused on the complex problem of solving, doing the chronic health management. And this chronic disease are basically supposed to be the silent global epidemic. If you consider the entire world's population, about 75% of the global death is due to these chronic diseases. And the global, chronic disease management therapeutics and device technology market as it stands today is $346 billion worth, and it is supposed to grow further to $500 billion by the year 2024. Globally, approximately 1 in 3 of all the adults suffer from multiple chronic conditions. And suppose if you have multiple chronic conditions, and on top of that, you are getting an additional chronic disease, then it results in the healthcare expenditure. As a result, the healthcare expenditures greatly increase, sometimes exponentially, with each additional chronic condition. And as a result, it includes a deterioration of the quality of life, out-of-pocket expenses, medication adherence, inability to work, symptom control, and high toll on careers. As a solution, we are bringing our smartwatch Liveleaf. It is the world's first wearable and for detecting and managing pre-diabetics and other chronic conditions. We offer a totally pain-free blood glucose and blood pressure monitoring device. That means there is no finger stick, no microneedle, no blood pressure cuff associated with it. The main advantage which we offer is a continuous behavioral feedback that lowers the risk of advancing to the development of the chronic disease to the next step, like type 2 diabetes or more severe form of cardiovascular diseases or other chronic disease. And it enables a very healthy lifestyle, saving both time and money. And last but not the least is that it is a simple and discrete device. That means, and anyone who wants to track the vitals can simply wear it as a smartwatch. To add here, a cool-looking smartwatch and show off the device. And people around you will not know that you are wearing a health monitoring device, and still this device will track your essential vital parameters under the hood. How cool is that? Now, the product market fit. We are in the market at a very interesting time. According to a survey which is done by Christina Farr from CNBC on the Apple Watch, it shows that 30% of the respondents says that if Apple Watch has, like a blood pressure measuring feature in it, and 36% said it Apple Watch has, blood sugar measuring as a feature in the Apple Watch, then they will immediately buy an Apple Watch from whatever watch they're using right now. So for Apple, there is a, still a tremendous progress is there if they can address these two parameters in their smartwatch. Interestingly enough, we are already there. With our current device, you can not only measure blood pressure, blood glucose, but on top of that, we are also measuring heart rate variability, oxygen saturation, and respiration rate. So it kind of shows that where we stand with our product, from the market fit and as an entry to the market. Now, the chronic disease management therapeutics and the device technology market is seeing a massive growth over the next 5 years, from a $346 billion market to $490 billion market by the year 2024. And there are several control points that are changing. One of the reasons for the change in the control point is the COVID-19. COVID has really shown this healthcare industry that whatever healthcare management is there right now is not sufficient enough, and as a result, this healthcare industry is adopting more and more the telehealth devices to face the situation. And as a result, we see even not only them, the insurance companies are also adapting and becoming more receptive to such telehealth devices, and they are introducing several reimbursement methods to such devices. We are seeing many new CPT codes by the Center for Medicare Services to such devices that enables the doctors to get reimbursed for their services over the years. And this reimbursement number is not a very small number. It is around $1,000 to $1,500 per year by the different payers. Along with that, there are other fundamental changes and progress that is happening in the technology for the last 20 years. That means whatever was not possible 15 to 20 years back is totally doable now. So we are in the market with our product at a very interesting time, that the telehealth and the digital health is seeing a massive growth over the next 5 years, and definitely we would like to drive that growth. Here, I would like to give you the snapshot of our key competitive advantages on the top of the whatever is there in the market right now. We are providing a 360-degree view of the cardiovascular, metabolic, and respiratory health of the individual. It is a truly non-invasive, continuous, and real-time monitoring of the key health parameters. We measure all these parameters concurrently. That means These parameters,
Shweta,
yeah,
I'm sorry for
yeah.
interrupting. You have a very bad sound on the microphone. It has a lot of static. Is there a way to do something about it?
Oh, is there a network problem that is happening?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
you
is a
can't.
lot of static and it's hard to follow.
Okay, I
Very
don't
good
know.
presentation. Maybe you can
Thank
remove the mic and just use the speakers. I mean,
Yeah, actually, I'm not using any mic. That's why I'm just wondering what to do. Even, like, can you hear me now? If I move close to the, I don't know, uh, computer. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
yeah,
that is better. Get close to the microphone. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm. Can you hear better now?
perfect.
Yes,
Mhm.
I think if we get closer to the microphone, it's better.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And guys, I apologize for interrupting because it was just becoming bad.
Sure, no worries, no worries. Absolutely. Like, if you can't hear, then I should actually stop. So now, so here I would like to present the snapshot of the key competitive advantages of whatever is there in the market right now. We are providing a 360-degree view of the cardiovascular, metabolic, and the respiratory health. It is a truly non-invasive, continuous, and real-time monitoring of the key health parameters. Like all these parameters are getting measured concurrently. That means at the same instant of the time. And this kind of shows a high granularity to the basic health data point of view. And on top of that, our product offers zero consumables or supplies that lowers the cost of ownership. That means, for example, if you take any glucometer in the market, consider a finger stick glucometer that, like you have to replace the needle or the strip every time you use it, right? Or consider, a continuous glucose CGM, whatever is there in the market, there is a sensor associated with it and that goes through your skin and you have to replace that sensor every 10 to 14 days. And that for all these devices, the cost of ownership is pretty high. But for our device, there's nothing such. And this is kind of a proves that it is a game-changing solution to whatever there is in the market right now. And not only our platform, it is provide a it is a hardware manufacturing device, our company, but we also built a platform that provides service platform to the for easy integration to the other existing platforms like the remote patient monitoring or electronic health record or medical health record or other telehealth platforms. And lastly, our product, offers easy sharing of data with your friends, family, caregivers, and physician. That means, at the end of the day, it is your health, and you are taking care of your health and monitoring, tracking your health. And you can share your health snapshots with your the people who love you the most or care about you the most, right? So here I would like to take a small pause, give a small pause and take any questions or anything before I dive deep into the technology. Do you have any questions? I know there is a Q&A session.
Yes, so we
If not,
have a couple of questions. One is, Shweta, thank you for presentation. Does Liveleaf monitors all the parameters every second? Are they discrete continuous measurement?
no, let me add here something. We are not doing it every second. The measurement interval is, you can do it starting from 5 minutes to every 5 minutes to every 10 minutes to 15, 20, depending on the user can actually select that, the interval of the measurement, depending on the criticality or severity of the, if you need to measure every, very frequently, then you can select every 5 minutes or, the minimum is 5 minutes. If you don't want to, if your numbers are pretty stable, and if you don't want to measure every at such an frequent interval, then you can make it 15 or 20 minutes and saving the battery time, battery life. So that is it. Was that the question, Ola?
Yes. Next one is, what is the cost?
Okay. The
Next
cost,
one is, what is the cost?
Yes, the cost is basically right now. Can you hear me? But first of all, tell
Yes,
me because
yes.
your voice was breaking. Okay, thank you. So cost-wise, we are, like this year we are not, doing our, releasing our product in the US market, but we are targeting. I will be talking about that in the later slides. But just to answer your question, this year we are reaching the market outside US and through our partner, and it is, at a very like within the price range, I would say $200, but in US, it's still not decided. So we are working on that. Maybe between 300 to 500 because that time we will be having the FDA clearance and all.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Next question. Why is it not? Does one have to wear the watch 24 hours?
No, like it's up to you. Like if you want to wear the watch and track your, yeah, you can wear it. The answer is you can if you want, because it's totally, like it's not very heavy. It's a light watch. It's totally waterproof, and you can do any activities and anything by the watch. You can wear it 24 hours, and it is a harmless watch. There's nothing that will, no ray that may cause harm to you. But yeah, if you want to track, otherwise, like if you don't want, then it's up to the user. Like it's just tracking the numbers, right? You don't have to. My answer is.
Next one.
So
How long does
is there any
the
other
watch
question?
last between? How long does the watch last between needing to have a battery recharged?
Yeah, right now we would say we haven't got the final product. I think we will be getting that the final version by the end of this month, and we would say that like every 2 to 3 days at least it will last. I think Alodeep, just correct me if I'm
Yeah,
am I
sure.
right?
Yes, you are right. So we have done back of the envelope calculation so far, because the product is still we have to try the actual hardware in our labs to ascertain those exact battery lifetime kind of figures. But safe to say that it's definitely going to last more than a day, at least 2 to 3 days, and it will also partly depend on how frequently you have selected the automatic measurement to happen, the continuous passive measurement. If it's every 5 minutes, it will last less. If it's once every hour, it will be lasting a lot longer. So I think we are getting some questions typed on the Q&A, but Shweta, we can take these questions, the remaining questions, after your presentation. So why don't you continue, and Olga,
Sure.
let us collect these questions, and then we'll get back to the other questions at the end of the presentation, maybe.
After
No problem. So let's then collect the questions, and Shweta, please continue.
Sure. Thank you. Please send all the questions. We'll be more than happy to answer all those. Now moving to our main technology. As a core technology, we use the novel approach based on the spectroscopic principles. Here, we are using diffuse reflectance spectroscopy to measure the blood glucose. In this presentation, I will mainly focus in the blood glucose because that is the unique value proposition as offered by our device. So the diffuse reflectance spectroscopy uses photon absorption and scattering at multiple wavelengths. We are using the NIR region, and we are sending these multiple wavelengths through the skin, and the photons, they are traveling the different layers of the skin, like stratum corneum, epidermis, and finally they reach the border of dermis and epidermis, where there are blood capillaries. And there they partly get absorbed, scattered, reflected, and we collect the reflected part of the signal, and in the photo detector. The entire process is shown in the right hand side of the screen, if you can see. And in this photo detector, we get the final capture signal. The thing is, this final signal is affected by several parameters, like several factors rather. Some are external, like the ambient temperature, ambient light, sweat, hair follicles on the skin pigmentation, motion, several such factors. and some are internal, like the different whatever analytes are there on the site that also contributes to the absorption and reflection of the scattering of the photon. So they include basically the water, the different forms of fat, the proteins like albumin, globulin, the cholesterol like triglyceride, LDL, etc. So all they contribute towards this final signal. And our goal here is to get accurate spectral signature for glucose. But the problem is the contribution to the final signal by the glucose is very tiny, very small compared to the other analytes in the like water, fat. We basically relate 1% of the final capture signal. Basically, we relate it to the glucose contribution, making the problem hard. So what we do, we basically apply our proprietary method for enhancing the glucose contribution by applying the intelligent signal processing, signal assessment, and iterative learning processes to solve the problem. But I would, like 70% of this, our proprietary steps are our trade secret, and I would not, go deep into that. And by bypassing that, and even these are not patented anywhere, or we are, so we don't talk a lot about that. We will keep it aside and we will move forward. Then we are doing, we are providing, factory calibrated solution, which is based on the global clinical trials which we are conducting. And on top of that, we are allowing our end users to calibrate it further from their end using the device itself. But that that is an optional feature which we are providing. The reason is the device which is coming from as a factory calibrated device is, it is accurate itself. But on top of that, if the user is doing further calibration from their end, you can personalize the device and get some little bit more accurate, more better result. So here I would like to talk about the regulatory path. To begin with, let me tell you that our product is a, it falls under the de novo, category. That means there's no precedence, or there's no other device in the market that went through this FDA clearance using the technology that we are using right now, that is the diffuse reflectance spectroscopy. And for that reason, we have limited the scope of our current device, compared to whatever conventional devices, blood glucose monitor in the market that covers the range from 50 to 400 milligram per deciliter. And we are basically, focusing mainly in the range 70 to 180 milligram per deciliter instead of that. And whatever is, higher than 180, we are saying high. Whatever is below 70, we are saying low. The reason for doing so is that we don't, allow the, more advanced diabetic patient to use our device in any faulty way, like taking medication or, like similar stuffs, and, like compromising their safety. So, and also we are focusing in a range 70 to 180, which is considered as a very important range by the doctors, because this range is very important for the healthy individual to track their health parameters, particularly for the healthy individual and the pre-diabetic and the early stage diabetic people. Here you can see on the right hand side, we represent the Clark error rate. This curve is basically this 2D dot is essentially followed by the FDA people for their approval process. And the x-axis represents the reference glucometer numbers. And in our case, we are using the finger stick glucometer. And the y-axis is basically the numbers from the Liveleaf watch. And if your numbers, if the data is on this 45-degree line, that means your watch is 100% accurate in comparison to the reference glucometer. But generally, this is not the case. And the data is scattered, basically. For that reason, the endocrinologists, they have divided the entire region into 5 regions, that is A, B, C, D, and E, as you can see here, based on the level of accuracy. And we have conducted this study on 178 subjects and on 900 data points. And they have these end users also calibrated from their end using the device to these studies. And so the numbers are pretty good and tight. So we get a MARD from here, 4.37, standard deviation 5.71, and with a 95% of the confidence interval at the range, within the range plus minus 11.5%. So here I will talk about the platform, the entire platform which we are offering. We offer an end-to-end personalized health management platform that includes a wearable smartwatch and a cool looking wearable smartwatch to add here, and a Bluetooth connected mobile app, which works both on the iOS and Android platform. The mobile app is, on the other hand, is connected to the backend cloud, which is hosted by the AWS. Apart from this mobile app cloud connectivity, we have a web dashboard for our end users, which also connects to the cloud. And we also have access to the cloud from the web dashboard. And we also provide our partner partial access to the cloud from their end using their web dashboard. From that, they can manage the platform and their users. And lastly, our users can share the data. You can share the data using these devices with your community. The community involves the friends, family, caregivers, physicians, healthcare providers, whoever you want to include in this network. So I would move to here I will show you the watch flow. Our watch flow is pretty simple and intuitive, and we offer multiple home screens to the users. Some home screens, here you can see two of the home screens. These are the home screens which we are offering. Some home screens are with health informations like this one, and some without the health informations, and it is up to the user which one they want to select, basically, depending on their need or preference. And we offer altogether six home screens in our current version. You can move from one home screen to the other, simply by scrolling up and down. And if you scroll left, you will land in the health data screen, which is shown in the right hand side. And if you scroll to the right, then you will land in the general app screen. I will talk, in detail about this health data screen and app screen in this coming, slides. So these are the three home screens out of the six home screens that we are offering. As you can see, the home screen 1 and home screen 2, these are the, showing the digital and analog display of the time, and with the health informations at the bottom. Though we are measuring 5 parameters, but you can select any 3 out of those 5, and the user can select on the the one which is important to them, or whatever they want to select out of those 5. You can select 3, and you can see the numbers all the time in the whole screen, home screen in front of your eyes. And the third home screen is basically for the sports person, the athletes, or the people who are into active, serious kinds of activities like jogging, biking, hiking. You can still do your activity and see the numbers in the screen bold and bright. And these are the other 3 home screens that we are providing. This one is with the digital display of the time and the activity numbers you can see here. And you can see a circle which progresses with time as you reach your goal. This is the activity tracker, the circle as well. And these 2 home screens are the the simple home screens without any health information. One is the elegant, decent looking one, this one, and this is the phonograph view. And these home screens, you can use it and wear it as I said, as a smartwatch, a cool looking smartwatch, and people will not get to know that you are wearing a health monitoring device, and it will still track your vital parameters under the hood. Coming back to the health screens, which I already mentioned in the previous slide, this is the main health screen. These are the main parameters which we are measuring, 5 parameters. And apart from that, there is a measure button, there is a meal button, and there is a notification alert button here. So we all, like I already mentioned, the watch is measuring by itself without any user, help or interference, by itself every few minutes, depending on the measurement interval set by the user from their end. But apart from that, you can also trigger an instant measurement using this measure button from the this health screen. And this meal button basically can allow you to annotate the meal. You can, by selecting that, you will land up in this screen where you can select the whether you had moderate, heavy, or light meal. And this is the notification. If you have any abnormal numbers, you will get a notification here itself. And these are the different parameters which are color coded. You see the green represents the, if your numbers are within the normal range, then it is green. If it is in the borderline, it is yellow. If it is high, it is orange. And if it is critically high, it is red. So these comes with the numbers or an arrow which is pointing up or down. So I will tell you more detail in that. So if you select any of the parameters, suppose here in this case blood glucose, we will land in this screen where you will get the number, and with the arrow in this case pointing down, that means your blood glucose number is 70 and it is still going down. And you will get a message that showing that your blood glucose is low and it's going down and all. And definitely with the color code here, it is critically low, so it is red. If you scroll further down, you will land in the hourly screen of the during the entire day. And here we see you will get the numbers in the form of the plots with the discrete points that shows your numbers. And this plot is also color coded for better understanding. And if you scroll further down, you will land in the weekly numbers. Here the numbers you will not get in discrete points anymore, but it is a continuous graph and it is shown in timing range. And this timing range is basically a very important metrics from the health data point of view, because it is it is the range 70 to 180 milligram per deciliter, the one which we are covering. And this range is it is expected for a healthy individual that you should be within this range 70% of the time during the entire day. So we are providing this here. These are the basic apps which we are providing. We don't want to overcrowd our screen with too many apps. We did a thorough, market research, and we came up with the mostly used and useful apps. These are the stopwatch, alarm, notifications, and weather. Now moving to the mobile app main flow. These are the parameters which we are measuring using our watch. You can see it here as well. Selecting any of the parameters, suppose blood glucose, will land in the screen. Here it is, the screen will get 4 tabs, day, week, month, and year. If you select day, you will get this slot similar to the watch face, but like with the discrete data points, and they are all color coded, but with some more informations like the steps counts you will get the fasting number, your fasting glucose number, your numbers before and after the meals, and some more additional informations in comparison to the watch face. And if you select week, month, or years, similar to the previous watch face, it is no longer discrete data point, but continuous graph where it is showing time in range, how many hours of the day you are in the range, 70 to 180 milligram per deciliter. And these are the, you can measure your numbers. You can trigger an instant measurement, not only from the watch, but from the mobile app as well, using this measure button. And you can share your numbers with your community, as I already mentioned, by simply touching this share button, and you can share your current numbers. You can share your numbers for the entire week, entire month, or for the past few months from these options, and you can select the people or user, community, whoever you want to share with, and you can just send. This calibration feature, which I already mentioned, that it is an optional feature. You can or it cannot. It's depending on the user, but because the the device itself after factory calibration is accurate enough, but you can do it if you want. It's very easy. Just there are only few steps. You have to put the numbers you're getting from the glucometer, like finger stick or CGM, whatever you're using. You put it here and you just share it, put it, click the calibrate button. Moving to the web portal, as is expected that the web dashboard, it supports detailed visualization of the data over a longer period of time and with bigger window, bigger screen in comparison to the web app. Here you can get some more information and you can compare your numbers with like I will talk more about it in the coming slide. Like for this month, if you this dots are this colored dot is the numbers which is which it is your number, and you can compare it with the reference population, like people who are in the similar age, gender, height, weight, BMI, and ethnic background. So you can compare your numbers with this reference population and see where you stand. Moreover, on top of that, you can also compare your numbers with your own number from the previous week, previous month, last few months, and even year, and see where you are heading to, like health wise, like from the health data point of view, whether you are progressing or not. This is our partners at our dashboard. We are also providing them a couple of features in their dashboard, and these are the list of the users, list of devices, basic statistics, health summary, and all. So that they can manage the platform from their end, and as well as the users from their end. Now coming to the business model, our revenue model is very as I already mentioned, that based on a very low cost of ownership to the end users, because there's no consumables that is associated with our product, so the cost of ownership is pretty low. On top of that, we are providing a higher margins for the Life Plus and channel partners. And how we are doing that? Our channel partners can get benefited not only by selling our device, but also by sharing a recurrence revenue from our subscription model, which is based on two parts. One is the basic, and the other one is the premium one. And we can split this monthly subscription with our partner, and that will also account for the recurrence revenue for them. And on top of that, they can also get benefited with add-on features like user community and real-time alerts, emergency response they can add to the system, connected care, and all. Our go-to-market strategy. This year, actually, we are reaching the market outside US as a general wellness device, mostly in the Asia, Middle East, and African market. Next year, that is 2021, we are with the FDA clearance, we will be reaching the US market. Mainly, our target market will be the telehealth, the aging in place, and the, like the remote patient monitoring services. And in the telehealth, we see there are main two groups, mainly the one in the age group of 30 to 64, and the other one between the age group 65 and up. For the 30 to 64 group, people are more active and they are more alert, and they are ready to go some extra steps to take care of their health. And for 65 and up, they need more managed care, and they need someone to take care of their health. So for both the segments, like we will be serving our we are targeting both the segments because it is a good fit for them. And by the year 2022, we will be serving the entire diabetic community, both type 1 and type 2, and in the entire range from 50 to 400 milligram per deciliter range. Now coming to the summary, we offer a game-changing solution for the chronic disease management. We see a strong product market fit for our current device, and our it is backed by a strong set of key IP and trade secrets. We have a seasoned management team who are working pretty hard on the product development, go-to-market strategy, product launch. And there is the market entry is coinciding with the industry control point, which is basically accelerated by the COVID, and and there's a tremendous growth happening, and people are adapting the telehealth devices, and we are following the same trend. And lastly, our channel partners will be benefited using not only by selling our device, but also sharing our recurring revenue as a part of the subscription model which we are offering. With this, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Shweta. So now let's get to the questions. Guys, we have two open questions. One is from is there only a proprietary app to read the data, or is the data also available to the existing apps, Google Fit, etc.?
I could not hear the question. Can you repeat, Olga, once more the question?
Is there only a proprietary app to read the data, or is the data also available to the existing apps such as Google Fit, etc.?
So, Alodi, do you think you want to take the question?
Yeah, sure. So, so we have our proprietary app because we don't integrate with the market existing other fitness and other kind of apps. So, as Shweta was alluding to, that we have developed from the scratch a full vertical platform, starting with the wearable medical device in the watch form factor with the Bluetooth connected mobile apps, both in Android and iOS platform. And those apps are also, connected with the backend cloud. Currently, we are hosting our cloud at AWS. So long story short, we have our own app to work with our device. Okay. Hello? Do you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. So the next one is restating my previous question to be more clear. Is the watch data only available in the associated app, or is it also available to other health tracker apps such as Google Fit or Samsung Help?
No, we own our own data in cloud through our own app. So we don't integrate right now with third-party apps like the Google or the Samsung platforms.
Thank you. Next one, what will you do when Apple inevitably figures out glucose monitoring on Apple Watch?
I don't think only Apple will figure out solution. There will be many companies who will be figuring out a much better solution than what what exists in the market today. Needless to say, whoever among you are diabetic and sticking your finger or inserting a subcutaneous sensor, continuous sensor under your skin, all of you feel the pain on a daily basis. The state of the art has to change, will change. There will be much better solution. We are only trying our way to get there. Apple has been trying their way. There are many other companies, in Silicon Valley itself that I know of, that who have been working on non-invasive solutions toward continuous glucose monitoring. So tomorrow is very bright. A lot of companies, a lot of solutions will come up.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to add here, Olga, I would say, like, when Apple will come up with such a solution, because they are not there yet, we'll be farther ahead. So we don't have to worry about that. We'll be, on top of that, we'll be, doing some more research, some more additional features. So we don't have to worry about what
There is
Apple
always
is
a
doing.
market for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's a huge market. It's globally about 500 million people today are suffering from diabetes itself. And if you think about the predisposed population, it's pretty much in US, it's a 1:3 ratio. About 33 million people are diabetic today, and close to 90 million people are pre-diabetic. So it's a global, truly global, epidemic, and diabetes causes all sorts of other problems in your other organs, cardiovascular, renal, liver. So it's a major problem to solve. A lot of work is still needed, and a lot of companies have been working on very innovative solutions as we speak today.
Yep, exactly. What you're offering is amazing. Okay, I will take two more questions and we will be wrapping up. So the next question is, how much field user testing has been done with your device to date?
So currently we have, and Shweta, sorry, I took the question. I don't know whether you would.
Sure, Anjali, go ahead.
Thank you. So We currently have data from roughly about 400 people. A total amount of data points is close to 3,000. But this was the early validation with our previous prototype watch. Now our product watch is coming. The first version is coming end of this month, beginning October. And we are engaging in global multi-site trials in India, Malaysia, Japan, South Africa, and UAE. Here in US also, we'll be doing a massive study with one of the market leading continuous glucose monitor starting mid-October. So we are expecting more than 1,500 people to participate in these studies all across different sites over the next 5 months, 3 to 6 months period. And the total number of data points that we are looking at would be close to 350 to 400,000.
Thank you. Next one, what are some challenges you see with your optical sensor for blood glucose sensing? One I can envision is sweat and dirt buildup.
Yeah, sorry.
Shweta, go ahead. Yes.
I already mentioned it, but anyway, I'll repeat.
Okay, I think your audio is also garbled for internet reasons. So do you guys hear me well?
Yeah, you have very good connection.
Okay, so let me take the liberty and answer this question.
Sure.
So, for this kind of a spectroscopic sensing technology, we consider the noise factors to be primarily two categories. One is the external noise factors, which are primarily the ambient light, ambient temperature, sweat in your skin in between the sensor and the skin surface, as well as, hair follicles, your skin tone, which also dynamically changes. For example, if you are sitting in home for 3 months and just one fine day you go to beach, you get substantially tanned. So all these external noise factors we are aware of, and we adjust our signal and the sensing approach dynamically to compensate these noise factors. And then there is second category, which is more intrinsic or internal, which Shweta was alluding to, that different analytes under the skin. For example, major analytes are water, fat, different forms of protein such as albumin, globulin, etc. Then you have cholesterol, triglyceride, those kind of analytes. Then you have glucose. So as Shweta was pointing out, one of the major challenge of this technology is that the signal that you capture on the photodetectors, from the contribution from the glucose point of view, it's very weak. So it's less than 1% of that captured response is actually coming from glucose. So it's an extremely low signal to noise ratio environment on which this device operates. So that's a fundamental challenge. And that's where most of the previous technologies have failed to address adequately and get the proper resolution for bringing up the accuracy for a wide dynamic range. And as from our presentation, as you saw, that to effectively address this problem, we did a couple of things. First of all, we started with the market existing sensor. And we wanted to really explore its potential for glucose sensing. We did not come up with our own sensor to begin with. We did not follow that approach. So the sensor that we used is a state-of-the-art, one of the market-leading commercial sensor of its kind from a company called Osram from Germany. But the primary objective of this sensor has never been glucose sensing. So it has its own drawbacks, and we have thoroughly explored all the drawbacks, and that's why we trimmed our regulatory approach to FDA for a very reduced part of the entire dynamic range of glucose. The dynamic range is 50 to 400 mgdl, but we are going to be only reporting numerical values between 70 and 180. So we are looking at a reduced scope for the first clearance of the product, and this is going to be a de novo clearance because there is no other product that uses this technology for glucose sensing that has been cleared by FDA yet. So, and on top of that, we have reduced the intended use case also for this device, that this is not for diabetes management. This is primarily for aiding your daily glucose excursion as a secondary adjunct device. So our aim is to first clear this product in this reduced scope and understand the fundamental benefits and drawbacks of this technology. And we are in parallel working on developing our own custom sensor that will adequately address these intrinsic internal challenges that I just mentioned. in a much better way, and that will be able to cover the entire dynamic range of 50 to 400 milligram per deciliter reporting. So that will come probably in next couple of years, 2 to 3 years time frame.
Thank you very much. Guys, I will not take any more questions except the last 4, and because we have to wrap up. So the next question is, why don't you want users to use this device for disease management? And before we do that, Shweta, can you provide the contact information on your display? So anyone who has additional questions, please submit it via email, and I'm sure the team will be happy to answer.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Sure, you want me to share in the chat?
yeah, just share the screen.
Share the last screen, basically.
Right. And so
Okay.
let's do the last 4 questions because people, we need. Why don't you want users to use this device for disease management?
So as I was mentioning it briefly during the introduction part, that as we stand today, there is no product that exists in the market that particularly focuses on the predisposed population for different chronic diseases, cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. By that, I mean that these are the people, including myself, that who are not there yet fully into a specific chronic disease, but we are at an elevated risk for either diabetes or hypertension or some specific cardiovascular disease or respiratory problem, whatever it is. I mean, in our measurement spectrum, we have a wide, broad spectrum of 5 key physiological parameters. So we cover quite a few different kind of disease cohorts. So, so what happens is that today, the only way to check your risk or your elevated risk, assess your elevated risk, is to go for a doctor visit. Most of the time it's an annual physical visit where you do a bunch of blood tests and doctor performs certain basic in clinic tests on you, and then they kind of inform you that you are at elevated risk for such and such, and then they give you some guidelines that make certain changes in your lifestyle. At this phase, you are not taking any medication. You are primarily given guidance by the doctor that makes certain changes in your lifestyle. Most of the time, they focus on meal. They also focus on activity, sometimes the hydration part of your habits. So you come back with all those instructions and you are very motivated. You want to address this elevated risk factor. Doctor has told by doing these lifestyle changes, you will be able to slow down the progress of these issues and maybe even revert the problems. So you start with a high motivation, but then in few weeks, you are in a position that you have followed it very rigidly. It's quite a bit of shift from your previous lifestyle. So you are feeling that you constantly made a change in your lifestyle, but you don't have a way to validate whether that really made the changes in your in your core physiological well-being. There is no way to do that, monitor that. Because of that, most of the time, this early motivation that that people have right after coming from the doctor visit, that tapers off in few weeks. So that's the problem. That is an even bigger problem than when people kind of are already in the advanced stage of the disease. They are in medication, they are in specific measurement paradigms, and people are at that time very serious. Most of the people, they follow these guidelines and they take time to stick their finger or put a cuff on their upper arm and measure their blood pressure, all those kind of things. But at that early stage, the compliance is primarily low because there is no way to validate that these compliances are effective or not.
Thank you.
And Olga, please just to add here, as Aludeep said, that our disease actually manages and detects, tracks in the pre-diabetic or for the healthy and pre-diabetic population. And for your information, like in the pre-diabetic stage, you can still revert the disease back to your normal health. But if once you are into the diabetic phase, you can't revert back the disease. So it is if you address the disease in the early stage, you can still go back to your normal life. That is one important factor I think we are serving.
Yeah, for
United
type
States.
B diabetes, it's possible.
Yeah.
The question is, what are the unique IPs, and would it be available to be licensed to others?
We are not right now looking into licensing our IPs. We are primarily developing our own platform. But in next 3 years, when we start actively, that's definitely part of our business plan, but not an immediate plan. When we start considering licensing IPs and get to a license and royalty based business model, then we'll have a better kind of optics into this discussion.
Okay. Thank you. Next question. What role does age play into the accuracy? I mean, with the device, will the device work equally for the young and old?
Yes, there should not be any difference between young and old people. The primary differences are all this kind of different external noises that come into play, because people have been expected to wear it for the good part of their daily life. So it's a device that you're wearing all the time, and a lot of different noise sources will come to play, will actually create a noisy environment for the signal capture. So those problems have to be dealt in a more dynamic way, and that's part of our proprietary algorithms that we do. So there is no primary difference between young and aged part of the population.
Thank you. Last question for today. And as you can see on the screen, Shweta is displaying right now the contact information. So if anyone wants to take a snapshot, please go ahead. We will also post the slides if the guys will be willing to share on our consumer electronics website. The last question is, are you working with any specific image sensor companies on the sensor side? Do you need help with innovation on chip side, especially on NIR side?
Absolutely. So we are currently working, as I mentioned, that our current sensor, as you can see on the back of the watch right here, that's an PPG sensor from Ashram. We have been developing our own custom sensor as well, and we are open to have conversation if an individual or an entity comes up with concrete proposal in collaborating with us on partnering with us on basically productizing our own sensor. We are open to those conversations. Please shoot us an email at info@liveplus or in my email alodip.sanyal@liveplus.ai. Either of them should work. Okay.
Thank you. Guys, allow me on this note to thank our presenters, Aludip and Shweta, and Dev, thank you for inviting such an amazing presenters. I think what you are presenting is a solution which the world needs, and like we all said, that there is a space in the market for this type of sensors, no matter if we have Apple Watch or not. And on that note, I want to thank everyone for attending the webinar today, and stay tuned for the next sessions.
Shweta and I also thank you, thank Dave, thank Olga, and the rest of the IEEE Consumer Technology Society for inviting us to this podium. It's a real pleasure and honor to present in front of such an informed audience, and we look forward to follow-up discussions. Please feel free to reach us at info@liveplus.ai or call us. Our information is on the website. So look forward to many such conversations. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone, and have a good rest of the week.